Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Sethum and welcome back to another video. Folks, in this video I'm going to show you everything you need to know about taming a Noglin. Now this is a tame that is a passive tame, but it requires us to feed dinos to it, much like the Troodon, but in a different way. So let's have a look at what we will need. First thing we will need is some cryopods, in which we will be carrying some dinos that we will be feeding to the Noglin. Now of course you can get these for the hexagrams or whatever they're called from HLNA, and in this demonstration here I'm going to be using the turtles. Now it's quite important here that the tames are at least above 200, so after being tamed, because it will affect the amount of taming effectiveness that you will get. We also need some building materials, so that would be some stone walls, some stone fence foundations, and of course some dinosaur gateways, as well as the gate, because we are going to build a taming cage around it. Also, we're going to need a long neck rifle with some trank darts, and we'll also need a snowy owl snow owl because of course that guy or this guy has the infrared vision, which allows us to find it. And of course, to stop it in its tracks, we will need a harpoon launcher and a net gun. Now the place I found them to be most often outside would be here where I am located. This is one of the entrances into Rockwell's innards, and there's quite a few of them sometimes around here. So with that said and done, let's get into the process of finding one. Of course, you can do this with the visor from the tech helmet as well, but of course it's easier to fly around with a snow owl. Now as you can see, with pressing C we then get this infrared mode, which allows us to see every little creature. Now do bear in mind that the Noglin is actually smaller than an ant, so it's going to be difficult to find them. They are pretty quick as well. So I know there was one around here. I'll come back when I find it. Alright, this isn't exactly the Noglin that I saw. I think the one I saw was 108, but here's what I found. Just look at how small this guy is, and of course you can see he is actually shorter than the foliage is, and without the infrared vision we would not see this guy at all. I'm having to look around just to make sure that the area is clear, and of course if it isn't, make sure you clear it out before you even start the taming process, because next thing up is of course going to require us to fly about and try and catch it. So how are we going to do that? Well, I'm going to use the harpoon launcher and the net gun. Once you get close to the Noglin, it will want to run off. Now luckily it is cornered up, so we can catch up with it. I just have to see where it is. I think there's another Noglin, which is a bit disturbing. Okay, I'm going to try and get this guy. I don't know if this is the level that I want. I will be jumping from time to time just to see where it is, because of course, okay, this is the one I want. This is the high level one. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Try and kind of time it. Once it is knocked out or caught in the net, next thing we'll do is we will fire one dart at it. I do fly up just to see where the other Noglin is. I don't want to have that Noglin on me. Again, we're going to do another check here because I saw two Noglins in this area. So this brings us back to what I was saying. Now, do bear in mind that once you have knocked out the Noglin, of course, it will not stay knocked out for too long. So it's time to set up an enclosure around it to keep it here. So this is where the fence foundations come in handy. We don't want to use a lot of resources, so I went for wood. They are easy to craft, and we do get the customary game lag, because that's what happens with Ark when it launches a new DLC. Okay, that made me jump. That noise made me jump. So next things up, we will do the wood walls all the way around it. This should keep it contained. And now I can bring my bird down. This will help me defend myself if anything comes around. And we can now set up the enclosure around the Noglin. Of course, we do have to feed it our tames. Now I do have about 10 turtles. They were all 150 tamed with admin commands for the purposes of showing you what you need to do. Of course you can breed the turtles. However you get the turtles is up to you. Doesn't really matter, although I don't really recommend turtles, and you'll see why. So let's start up with the enclosure. For this demonstration here, I'm going to use the normal dinosaur gateways. These are the stone gateways. You can do it with the simple gateways or the wooden gateways. It doesn't really make a difference. The idea is we want to try and create an enclosure here. Of course, we got some stuff in the way, so that means I'm going to have to clear it out so that I have plenty of space. Yeah, okay, I'll do that. Let's get my pick out and we will clear out the brush. Now, of course, it is important to note that the level of the tame that you will be using after it had been tamed is quite important. It does affect how much it gets in terms of taming and of course taming effectiveness. If you want to tame a high level Noglin, my best suggestion is to use something like a Bronto, not necessarily the turtles. But for the purposes of this video, just to keep it simple, I will be using the turtles. You'll see the difference between a turtle and a Noglin and how much taming and taming effectiveness it gives us when we do use them. Of course, the Bronto will be in the later part of this video. For this demonstration here, I am just trying to show you the taming mechanics of the Noglin and what you need to do when you are going to tame it. Now, this isn't a 150, I think it's a 120, that's fine. It doesn't make a difference. So once we have enclosed the taming pan, taming ring, whatever you want to call it, we are now going to put up the gate. We want to make sure it is fully enclosed. We don't want any other creature to creep in. Now, I do have the turtles in cryopods. I showed you how to get the cryopods from HLNA, not that complicated. And of course, when I'm done, I will start popping out all of the turtles. So with that being said and done, I will get back to you when I'm at that moment. Alright, so what I've been doing here is I have started popping out the turtles from the cryopods. I'm just going to throw them onto the ground. Yes, they will get cryo sickness. Yes, they will be knocked out. But if I were to do this individually, I would have to wait for a very long time. And it's just not fun. So what I'm doing here is I'm just throwing out all of the turtles onto the ground. Of course, we're going to have cryo sickness, but they should come around within the same time. And in the meantime, while I wait, I can, I don't know, watch a video, do something else, and just patiently wait for all the turtles to come out of the cryo sickness. And after that, it's time to arrange them. We don't want them scattered about like they are here. We want them in a specific pattern to help the Noglin attach to their heads a lot quicker and easier. I'm just trying to find spots where to throw more turtles. So when you are done, of course, it's time to shift the turtles. You want them in a circle like this with their heads pointed towards where the Noglin is enclosed. Now, before we do anything, we want to make sure everything is on passive. We don't want anything aggressive. And then it's time to move our flyer to a safe distance. We don't want the Noglin attaching to flyers because, of course, flyers can fly. And it's going to be difficult to chase the Noglin and recapture it. So we don't want to do that all over again. So I'll just park my wonderful snow owl up here. And then I'll make my way down. I want to be on the lip of the gateway there. And again, we get a bit of lag, whatever. But I'll show you exactly. Hold on. Here we go. Let's just let this happen for a bit. And we're going to try and park ourselves up here. This is the safest place for the time being because we have a good sight of the Noglin. So we're going to shoot it one more time with a tranq dart. One dart should do. Knocks it completely out. Time to remove the walls of the enclosure that we had it safe in. And I'm going to try and get the fence foundations as well. I don't want to leave these lying about. Can't quite see that one right there. That's fine. Let's move on to the next one. So that's the Noglin right there. It's really tiny, by the way. And without some sort of vision to see it, it will camouflage with the grass. Now we just wait for it. It is up. And let's see what it does. Boom. Right onto the turtle. Now, the turtle will give it about 13% taming. From what I've been playing around with and testing, I think after the 5th creature, the Noglin will lose the taming effectiveness quite dramatically. So it's very, very important. You want to have all your creatures in the taming pan because you want it to go from one creature to another really quickly, because if it takes too long, it will lose taming effectiveness and taming levels, if that makes sense. So this is what you want your setup to be, but with Brontos. of course that means they will be taking damage, as you can see. Now we are on the last one. We pretty much lost all of the taming levels because I had 10 turtles, but it went flawlessly. It went from one turtle to another, and it just kept doing that over and over again. And so that is my Noglin tame. This is what you want to be doing it, but on a greater scale with the Brontos. Why the Brontos? This is the only creature that I have found from my test that will give the Noglin a full 20% taming bar, which of course then that means with 5 dinos you can tame the Noglin at 100%, and so you don't really lose a lot of taming effectiveness. I'm going to show you that in the next section of the video where I was testing it. So over here we have a Bronto. We have a level 150 tamed Bronto. Very important here from what I have figured out is you want the tamed creature to come out at least level 200 after it has been tamed. Levels do count, and as you can see right there, you do also want a creature behind a fence, a protective barrier on which the Noglin can aggro. But look at the amount of taming that we get from a 200 plus Bronto. I probably would go for a 150, close to perfect tame. We get 20% taming on the Noglins, so that means with 5 Brontos we should then be able to fully tame this at 100% with maximum taming effectiveness. If you are late, here's what happens. Look at how quickly the taming drops. With the drop in taming, you also get a drop in the taming effectiveness, which of course means it affects the levels it'll get. So that's why I probably suggest having your Brontos set out in a circle and then basically let the Noglin go from one Bronto to another. Stay out of the way, don't get involved, and it should go pretty flawlessly. Now of course there are some occasional bugs and glitches where you may have to try again, but it's just one of those things. It's bugged out. It does bug out sometimes, or at least that is my impression, because sometimes the Noglin, after latching onto a creature and controlling it, it won't want to control another creature. But that is something that may potentially be tamed. Now, what can you do with a Noglin? I'm just going to throw this guy onto the Bronto by double tapping F and looking at the Bronto. And voila, we have control of the Bronto. By this, of course, we can actually do whatever the Bronto would normally do. And once you remove the Noglin or the time expires, the Noglin will remove itself and automatically kill the Bronto in one shot. It does so much damage that could probably very easily kill a Giga if you can attach it to that. I don't know. I haven't tried it out. So as you can see, it is harvesting stuff, and it is also damaging other creatures. If you press F whilst you are in this mode, it will then take you back to the player. So basically your survivor is now controlling the Noglin, which is now controlling in its turn the Bronto. If you press F, it cancels that and brings you back to your survivor like this, and then the Bronto will be on follow, but it's actually the Noglin, so to speak, and it will come back to you. Another thing you can do is you can directly control the Noglin, take it up to, or walk it up to a creature, and then latch it onto that creature. This time around we have a horse. I don't even know what to call this thing. It's a Parasaur, but I don't know, probably butcher the name. And then of course, if you tap F again, you kind of resume control of your survivor, and of course it should come to me, but it's kind of stuck there. So let's go and have a look at it. The Noglin of course will be on the creature's head. And that is pretty much it with regards to taming this creature. The difficulty here is that they are more easy, or more of them in the Rockwell innards biome, which is a ridiculously difficult biome, by the way, but you can get lucky and find them around the entrance into that specific biome, which is what I went for. Now, ideally, you will want to have a big taming pen with behemoth dinosaur gateways placed around, and of course you want to use Brontos. It should take, by my calculations, 5 Brontos, but I would have a 6th one just in case. something goes wrong. With that being said and done, that is pretty much it. I do hope that you have enjoyed it and found this video useful and informative. If you have, please don't forget to support me on the channel by hitting that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already for more similar content from myself. And if you have just subscribed, why not check out some of my other videos and guides here on this channel? Who knows, you might just enjoy them. And of course, for those interested, you can always find me on the Sethtopia Discord. Links to this, of course, you can find down below in the video's description. And until next time, stay safe, folks.